I'm JC, and this is Lfe TV with Lambda Phi Epsilon. Today we have with us a game changer of the Asian American community, Yo Kwan.
So when I went to college, I went with my best friend. It was a guy named Evan Chen,
Right.
And we were like best friends for a while. So we went to like middle school together and high school, and got into college together. And in our sophomore year, so Evan and I decided to rush Lambdas together. And so whatever we did it together as like friends and brothers. In our sophomore year, after we crossed, Evan started just getting tired all the time. And after a while, he was kind of lazy to begin with, so he used to fall asleep in class all the time. But after a while, he just stopped going to class, and I was like, hey man, you should probably go see a doctor and just make sure things are cool. So he went, and the tests were not normal, and then so they went through extensive testing. Eventually, he was diagnosed with a pretty severe form of leukemia. And as we all know, there aren't enough minority bone marrow donors registered for the National Registry. And so we did a search, and we were basically told not to get our hopes up, because there's so few of us who've been registered that chances of finding a match were about 1 in 10,000. So they ran the search, and we couldn't find anybody. And at that point, I spent all my time trying to organize bone marrow drives. And the thing that really helped us at that point was the fraternity. Because when we went out there, we were trying to get attention from mainstream media, we were trying to get school administrators to help, we were trying to get local news stations, anybody that we could find. And it was just really hard. We didn't have a lot of people that we could turn to, but the brotherhood was there for us. And we were able to organize, up to that point in time, the largest Asian American bone marrow drive in history. We got 500 people registered in our community. And we worked to try to start getting other chapters involved. And so other chapters started joining, and it became a national philanthropy. And so in relatively short order, we were able to kind of mobilize a whole national network. And for me, that just really showed me the power of brotherhood, right? We didn't find him a match, and so eventually he passed away. But, I've continued to be very active in trying to promote an awareness about the cause. And especially after one Survivor, I told myself that if I won, I'd really try to use that, moment of celebrity to try to raise awareness for this issue. And we've done, I think, a pretty decent job. We've organized about 100 bone marrow drives since then, and I've heard of at least 3 people who found matches.
Yes.
So, it was too late. It was too late for Evan, but I'm gratified to know that we were able to touch some other people's lives, and they didn't have to go through the loss and pain that he went through.
Well, what were some of the biggest challenges you had getting people to register when you first started bone marrow drives? Yeah. What were the biggest challenges that you faced?
Yeah, running bone marrow drives is a pain in the butt.
Yes.
Right? It's like pulling teeth.
Right.
People don't understand why they need to get involved, right? So, a lot of the first generation people we reached out to, like our parents' age, they're just there's not that same ethic of giving back to the community. And a lot of them had these cultural taboos about giving up tissue from your body. They thought it would cause you to lose part of your soul. A lot of the people our age, like our classmates and our peers, a lot of them were just so focused on studying or partying, and it was hard for us to kind of gain traction with them. And the other thing that made it really hard back then was the process of getting registered was not easy, right? Back then you actually had to get a needle and take out blood, and no one likes needles.
Right.
Fortunately, since then, the technology has improved where all you have to do to get registered is wipe a cotton swab inside your mouth and fill out some paperwork. A lot of people also believe that if you ended up getting called to be a bone marrow donor, it would just be really painful, it'd be really difficult, you'd be in the hospital for a long time.
Right.
But, that's not the truth. So we were trying to educate people that this is not major surgery. You go in, you come out the same day, and you're saving someone's life. And just getting that message out was really hard.
Can you tell us about any recent involvement you've had with your continuous fight with leukemia?
Yeah, absolutely. I still am pretty active in trying to organize bone marrow drives. So, for a long time, like after I won Survivor, I got asked to speak to a lot of different audiences, especially Asian American audiences. Right. And typically I would say, like, look, if you want me to come there, like, you have to let me organize a bone marrow drive. Mm-hmm. And there are lots of like great partners that we work with. In California, we worked with the Asian American Donor Program. Down in LA, it's AC3. Mm-hmm. And there's just a lot of organizations that we partner with. So the good news is, there are organizations out there that will do a lot of the logistics for you. All you have to do is find, like, within your chapter or within your church or your employer, just get their permission to get some space and to run some, like, put up some flyers and get the word out. And then these other organizations that you partner with, they'll come, they'll provide all the equipment, they'll register people. Yeah. So it's actually a fairly easy process to do a bone marrow drive. You just need to do it.
Do you have any words of wisdom that you could share with some of our young actives to get them motivated and more involved with our philanthropy?
Yeah, I would say, like, there's a real need within our community, within the Asian American community, and it's up to us to help ourselves. And, you never want to be, and I hope most people don't end up being in a position where they need someone else's help. But if you find yourself in that position, like, there's no one else that you can really turn to, right? And of all the things that I've done in my life, like Survivor, whatever, all that stuff, the things that have meant the most to me and had the most impact in my life are when you actually can help somebody. Like, and there's no way to help somebody more than to give them another chance at life. Because it's not just their life, but it's the lives of all the people that they touch. Mm-hmm. And so, if you have an opportunity to help someone's life, I mean, again, it's literally just a few minutes of time on your end. But for someone else who's desperately in need of help, I mean, it's everything to them. And it's usually someone within our community. Mm-hmm. And the people who, I know who've been contacted to become donors, they say it's a life-changing event. I mean, you directly saved someone else's life, and there's nothing else that can fix that.
Yul Kwon isn't special only because of the things he's done. Yul Kwon is special because of what he's done with what he was given. And what he was given was an opportunity. An opportunity to do something special, to do something that he believed in. Yul, it's an immense pleasure to have you here.
Man, you're hyping me up. All this pressure.
Hey, like, everybody, somebody as big as you needs an introduction like that. So. Did joining Lambda Phi Epsilon make you make a difference in either your personal or professional life?
Yeah, for sure. It's funny. Like when I first rushed and when I crossed, like, I was actually kind of ambivalent about it, right? Because I heard a lot of stuff about, like, if you get into the fraternity, like, you dominate your life,
yeah.
You only hang out with other Asians, and your grades are going to drop, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And there were times where I questioned whether, like, this was the right thing for me. But after that whole experience with Evan, and especially after I got out of school, like, I really saw the value of having that brotherhood, right? Because you never form the bonds of friendship that you do, I think, as part of fraternity in college. Mm-hmm. And it's partly a couple of things. Like, once you get out of school, you just don't have that kind of time.
Right.
You get busy or work in, eventually you get a family. You never have the time to, like, really focus on building the kinds of friendships and the brotherhood bonds that you do in college. And the great thing is that stays with you the rest of your life.
Right.
And it's not just on a personal level. Like, my best friends are still my fraternity brothers, but also on a professional level. Like, if you think about it, all these people go on to do, like, pretty amazing things with their careers. And it's an amazing professional network, right? And one of the biggest challenges and one of the biggest reasons why Asian Americans hit the glass ceiling, what they call the bamboo ceiling, mm-hmm. is because we don't have that network to help each other out.
Right.
And so, a lot of my brothers and I have taken a point to try to mentor other people coming up the chain. Mm-hmm. So when we know people who are coming out of college, we'll help them find other opportunities, help them get the interviews, give them the career guidance and advice they need, just like we got that from the people who went before us. So I think for both personal reasons and professional reasons, it was probably one of the best things I've ever done.
After all the things you've done as an actor, and can you recall how you felt about the brotherhood that exact moment when you graduated and you moved on, and knowing that you were closing one chapter of your life and entering another?
I was conflicted. Like, on one hand, I knew that I was going to be leaving these people that I got to know as friends and brothers. On the other hand, I knew the fact that we were going to stay close. Like, there's no question about that. And so, it was exciting to eventually kind of be able to move on. But at the other hand, like, I felt like I invested in something that was going to stay with me the rest of my life. And that's proven to be the case. So I wasn't too sad. And it's kind of cool now. It's the funniest thing. I just moved back to California, and I've got together with a lot of my brothers and their families, and we all got kids now. Like, what the hell? Like, when did this happen?
Yeah.
Right? But there's something cool about like getting back together and like sharing those experiences that you had, those special moments that like you remember for the rest of your life, and then also being able to share that with your family, and that's just cool.
Well, final question. If there's one piece of knowledge that a brother can take away from you today, what do you think it should be?
I think the single most important thing is, let me say both the practical and a personal thing. On a practical level, the most important thing is mentorship. There have been a lot of studies out there kind of showing why Asian Americans hit the bamboo ceiling and don't progress to the top levels of senior management. And the biggest factor tends to be the fact that we don't have mentors. And that's why I think it's so important for us to mentor each other, right? And make it a point to give back to our community. On a personal level, I would just say that the most important thing, I feel like, in life are other people, right? Mm-hmm. People in your family, your friends, Like, I feel like the way you measure wealth is not through how much money you make, but the richness of your life as measured by the people in it. Right? And I think that's something that you never kind of want to lose track of. Right. Now, on the other hand, there's also been a tension in, like, when I was in fraternity, like, you got to be loyal, right? Like, bros before hoes and all that kind of stuff. And, I believe in that. But at the same time, like, I've also seen in certain kind of instances where that ends up just being kind of like a blind obedience or allegiance, right? Like, if your brothers are doing something stupid, right, that's just like flat out irresponsible, right? Then you don't want to go there, and you don't want to condone that stuff. And if you really care about those people, you would try to do something that's not going to cause them to go off in a direction that's going to hurt their lives. Right. So, I would say, like, people are the most important thing, but that doesn't mean just blind allegiance or loyalty. It means, like, taking a step back and thinking about, look, what's going to be constructive in our lives, and how can I help you get to that level.
Right. Well, thank you. Yo-Kwon, the game-changing brother from Stanford, the strongest survivor of all time, and the best host any television show could ask for. We thank you so much for speaking with us today, Yo-Kwon.
Thanks for lying on my behalf.
Thank you.
Thanks.